Yes, hello. My name is Jesus Tagle Jr., and I'm submitting this for hopefully approval to be entered into the Educational Leadership Program. Again, I'll just go ahead and just kind of get right into it. As far as a teacher, of course, in the classroom, I've been teaching for a couple years now, and I got kind of like thrust into a star subject from the very beginning. Nobody really at that particular time at that particular campus, nobody really wanted to deal with that type of stress that I found out that you'd be under, especially when you're like on block schedules and stuff. And you have 60 to 80 students, kind of, per semester. So you have two stars you have to do. Plus, I made the mistake, of course, taking summer school and trying too much at first. But I learned really quickly. You have to get rapport with the students. You have to set boundaries. You have to set your expectations with these students, and you have to show that they can achieve, and that you do believe in them, and that you know how to get there. And if they can follow you, and when they follow you, you will get them to pass. And when it comes to U.S. history, now with Start 2.0 out there, and with the grading system and the scoring system for the schools, um, again, people always can take bio and like U.S. history as kind of just like the gimme subjects, the ones that these kids are going to pass, as also like Algebra 1. And they're hoping to get as many masters as possible, obviously, because again, that's about 3 points. And then again, getting meets is about 2 points. So the more masters you can get, obviously, the better it's going to be for those English 1, English 2 scores that may be at approaches. And again, when you're aiming for an A, when you're competing, when you're being competitive against not other campuses, but against the districts around you, and you're trying to compete not only for students, but for student athletes and for parents and for um, potentially future people moving into that area. Um, a parent is going to hopefully look into that, look into the performance and how well the school is doing. And again, nobody wants to be rated a C. I have been at a school where again that district was taken over recently, and that school was basically an F. But then we were able to kind of hunker down and do a lot of hard work, bring it up to a B, which was a big achievement. And again, getting an A would be a hard task at that school at that particular time. But it's I've noticed that getting the B is nothing. It's not easy. It's hard. It's hard, and getting that A has everything has to be. Somebody has to be at the end line, knowing how to get there, knowing what the angle has to be, and knowing all the potential kind of pitfalls that could happen, and being able to have a flexible response. Now, when it comes to student performance data, that's something that I myself am very conscientious about. As far as formal assessment, any type of exit tickets, any type of keeping um, any type of do nows in the beginning of class. Some of them aren't scored, but I just want to see how students are doing, particularly as if there's some type of cognitive maybe overload for that day, and you can see that they're tired, and you can see that their writing or their answer choices, they're waiting or they're not really engaged as you've seen them the other times. Again, because when you're with these kids 50 to 100 times, I mean, you tend to know their mannerisms just like they tend to know you, and they judge you for every little thing that you do, the way you dress, the way you look, the way you talk. And again, if they believe that you know where you're going and how to get there, they're going to follow you. But again, looking at the student data, that's kind of where it comes down to, especially when you're in a tested subject, and especially with the high schools, and especially now with the whole Texas system. Um, Again, you have to look to see what teaks they are not being able to do. Is it a skill teak? Is it just something that you are not teaching correctly? Is it something that emergent bilinguals need more sheltered instruction about? Something that you can teach in a different way? And again, you're going to have to spiral and kind of scaffold in, or kind of straight up just stop where you're at and just straight up reteach that, depending on the pace and the sequence, kind of where you're at. Again, every subject is different. Every teacher has a different style. All the classes can be different. You could have some great lesson plans, but you also have to have lesson plan B, lesson plan C, because that class, one of those classes may not just be there, and some of those kids may be your bubble students. Again, looking at the screen, you can kind of see there's a benchmark here that we had. Um, Again, half these students, were AP students. So again, some of them didn't have. We had barely gotten into the cold, kind of like the Cold War. So we were barely getting into that, and we kind of flew through a little bit of World War II to kind of get there. And now looking at the STAR 2.0, those are some of the questions the kids were um, very quickly coming towards you. They were wanting to talk about more civil rights stuff, and they knew the content. It was just the way it was asked. And again, this was Star 2.0. I know in this past December, I did go to Austin, and I was invited by Pearson and and also the TA to be uh, like an anchor reader for the short answer responses. And they said these were field tested, and they're not going to be on this year's STAR. And they were. And they told us that nowhere does it say complete sentences. And again, their instructions to us were very different than what we got from our districts and what we got last year. Everybody wanted to write at least two to like three sentences to show, and they said no, it could just be two words, and that's it. That's the way the AI was going to score it. So that was a big eye opener for us. But again, looking back at the data, again, you have to know, again, specifically with your bubble kids and your kids that you want to get to approaches into passing, obviously, and the ones that you have seen over time that are not performing at the level and the expectations that you want. You kind of have to see what it is that the teacher that you yourself are doing that's not allowing that student to achieve that. Again, maybe there's stuff at home that you can't control, but you can control what happens in the classroom. And again, when it comes to special pops and it comes to EB students, you just it's not just them. It's all the students. I mean, all the students can um, need help comprehending certain words. I mean, not everybody is a post grad student that's going to be able to that's read thousands of pages in their life. Some of these kids just literally just watch TikTok for 4 or 5 hours a day, if not more. And again, of course the algorithm kind of depicts all that, and there's not too much reading on that particular app as well. So again, when you're looking at the data, you have to know which kids you're going to target. You have to know which kids you want to pull up for enrichment. You have to be willing to talk to your assistant principal and get the okay that, hey, I'm going to give these particular students a little more different assignments, and I'm going to give these students a more chunk down type of readings and writing, so that way they can also feel engaged and feel talking and writing at their particular lexile and at their particular writing level, where they're engaging with the material and they feel safe within the community of the classroom itself. Um, Now, when it comes to data, again, you just kind of have to look to see kind of where you're at, kind of like where the students are at. I know this past benchmark, like everybody was kind of like in the middle halfway. Most of my regular kids were already kind of way past the Cold War when we took that. So we went pretty fast, and then we're able to kind of do like a good review. But when that Star 2.0 did hit us, yeah, it hit pretty hard. And I'm pretty sure a lot of U.S. history teachers are going to have to rethink how they're going to be teaching the particular material and the type of reading excerpts. And again, being an AP teacher myself, I do have a lot of secondary sources. So I'm already thinking for next year about how that can be achieved. But again, getting those bubble kids to approaches, getting those approaches kids to meet. It's just like those color band systems that people use at different districts. You have to know where the kids are at, and if they're waiting or if they're consistently going up. You have to know which teeth that they're weak in. If it's a skill, if they don't really know their geography, if they don't know government, those are things that you're going to have to call home, and you're going to have to get those students um, with the help of counselors, with the help of your assistant principal. Hopefully, you can get those kids to stay after school and actually come to the classroom and not be outside messing around and stuff, because those are the ones that you do need, because those are the ones that you need to pass. And I think all teachers would kind of say that they are focused on your high achievers, and you want to enrich them in ways that they find deeper meaning in what it is that they're doing. And again, your kids who are at that meets level, you want to push them harder and put the expectation that they can get masters. And when it comes to the approaches kids, keep them at approaches, try to get them into meets. And then really also, you do have to look at your bubble kids, and you have to look at those kids that are almost there. Now, when it comes to some of the stuff that I've been part of over the years, I have been in UIL. I have for about 5, 6 years. When I was teaching in La Jolla, I did social studies and current events, and those Saturdays were long Saturdays, and it was hard to get some of the students to wake up sometimes, and to also go, and also to get them committed as well. Where I'm at right now, there at Mission Veterans, it's a little bit different. Um, there is a group of about 10 to 15 students who kind of do everything. And again, Veterans has a very good reputation of having one when they were for when they were a little bit more smaller school. But now that they're reaching about 2,000 students, it is harder to get students to kind of stay and to be invested in those type of programs. Again, you have to do what you can to try to incentivize all that stuff and try to build that rapport with the parent and the student. Also, when I was in La Jolla, I did the LRE current events competition there, Region 1. And when you come from a public school and you're competing against these early colleges, and all these young students are saying they're going to MIT, they're going to Harvard, and then when your students are saying, well, they're going to SDC or UTRGV, it's a shock. Not just to not to the students, but to everybody there, because they're all early colleges and they're competing, and they are very smart. So again, just trying to get the kids' confidence. I have been in those type of positions before. I have been in a T-STEM early college program, and also Ford NGO programs where we kind of teach the same kids like in those type of small learning communities, a little small cluster like of students. I've done TSI summer camps, again, not for history, but for getting them ready for essay writing and reading. So that way when they come in their freshman year, they know where they're at, and they know that they can start taking dual enrollment classes, or hopefully getting them ready so when they take English 2, they score high enough where they're ready, their sophomore year, to start taking dual enrollment classes. Again, I'm a big proponent of that. Again, it helps the parent, it helps the student feel more confident about their abilities and to be challenged more. And you see the maturity of some of these students come out, and the fact that, hey, they have to get the work done, and they have to um, lean on sometimes some other teachers just for some positive um, affirmations, and they have that effective barrier of like, is this hard work? And yeah, it is hard work. College is hard work. But when it comes to, of course, like data, I'm a very data driven person. I think unfortunately that's, you can't have a portfolio, you can't have kids doing essays or giving speeches, because that costs money. The most cost effective way is an exam, obviously, and something that's scored by AI. And again, there's different philosophies about that, but the practical way would be looking at the data, seeing where the kids are actually weak at, and then looking at the question, seeing, okay, what were the distractors? Where did these students mess up on this particular question? Was it taught wrong by the teacher? How is this question worded? Is it a type of stimulus-based question? You kind of have to look at all that stuff, and then you kind of have to look at the student. How were they that particular day? Were they tired? Was it a Wednesday? Are they working? Are they having to work because their parents are not working? There's just different factors that a teacher has to deal with, and then again that principals have to deal with as well. Again, I am looking just to become an educational leader. Again, just for whatever school that I'm at, because right now I am a mission vets, and I just want the knowledge more than anything else. It's not so much the ambition for a position or to better myself or get better pay. I kind of want to know what's going on behind the scenes, and what these numbers and this data really is all about. I want to know what all these points actually do lead up to, and exactly how the English works. I know that's I've asked some people, and even some of the English teachers don't know. Like they just know they have to get the kids to pass, but they don't really know. Like, okay, if you get them at masters, they get so many points. If you get them at meets, you get the school points, and that's going to get again with English and math, that's a big chunk of what's going to get the school their letter grade. And again, you want the school to be a B, an A. I mean, obviously, that's kind of what anybody's looking for. So just really quickly, again, I am very data driven when it comes to any type of. Again, I look at the end result. I want what the end result first, what I want, then build back from there. And then when I start seeing kind of what's going on, either from Lead Forward, from DMAC, or from color bands or from any type of like as type of quintiles or type of a TEAC score that I can get. Seeing exactly what it is that the students are not really getting, um, then there's something wrong. You have to go back and fix that. You can't just let that slide. And yes, there's always time and pace and sequence that a principal is pushing onto the teachers, but I think most principals also understand that the teachers will get there. Just give them some time. And again, when it comes to again leadership stuff, I have been in charge of some of the social studies UIL, getting some of the kids from Juarez, Lincoln, of all places, from La Jolla, to actually go compete. And again, we're not winners, but again, having the kids compete against early colleges, against other students who they feel that, oh wow, we can compete with them. We're just as smart. We may not have won, but we got third or fourth place. And that's a big accomplishment. I mean, there's nothing to hang your head about with that. So again, that's kind of my pitch right now. And again, I'm Mr. Tagle, and hopefully you consider me for the program. And if you have any more questions, go ahead and feel free to contact me, and I will try to get back to you as fast as possible. Okay. So thank you very much.